So hay fever is what doctors call allergic rhinoconjunctivitis. So it's allergic disease of the nose and of the eyes, and it's caused by an allergy to an environmental substance that's in the air. So most people, when they think of hay fever, think of seasonal hay fever that occurs just during the springtime grass pollen season. But people can actually get allergic rhinitis that occur all year round. Symptoms of a runny nose, an itchy nose, and then later on in the season a blocked nose, and also eye irritation, which for many is often the most disabling symptom because the eyes are itchy and tired and red and watery, and those things they can be quite disabling symptoms. So hay fever is an allergy. Hay fever is very specific. So when it's due to pollen, it's due to often sensitisation or allergic reactivity to a family of pollens, and particularly in the southern parts of Australia, that's normally the temperate grass pollens, of which the most well-known is ryegrass pollen. But if you go to different parts of Australia, like in the north, it's different sorts of pollen. So up, say, in Brisbane or Alice Springs, it's often Bermuda or couchgrass pollen that's particularly associated with hay fever symptoms. The people who are most likely to get hay fever are those who have an allergic disposition, or those who are more likely to be allergic, and that's determined by their genetics and possibly by their early life environment. So about half of the population is fundamentally allergic, or doctors call it atopic, which means they're likely to make allergic antibodies. They're made to potentially defend against things in the environment which would not hurt us anyway if we didn't make an antibody to it. So they make allergic antibodies to things in the environment that are otherwise harmless, like grass pollens or dust mite or cat allergens. Hay fever often occurs in the teenage years. There's often what people call an allergic march. Often people really early in life have eczema, and then later in life, perhaps around 7, they often come on with asthma, and then hay fever will occur in the early teens and teenage years, although it can occur at any time in life. The other group of people who are often likely to get hay fever are people who come to Australia, particularly from Southeast Asia, and interestingly, often after about 3 years, they'll start to experience hay fever symptoms, having never experienced before where they grew up. So for mild hay fever, most people reach for an antihistamine, which is great treatment in stopping itchy eyes and a runny nose. But for the more severe symptoms, or symptoms that occur daily, which unfortunately many people who get hay fever do get, then the nasal sprays, which contain a corticosteroid medication, are probably better because they actually cause reduction of the nasal blockage and congestion that occurs, and they actually also are effective for eye symptoms. Also, for people who are quite severely affected, you can use both together, so that's oral antihistamines and nasal sprays containing steroids for really treatment of more severe hay fever symptoms. One of the main risk factors for thunderstorm asthma is hay fever. So if you have hay fever and you have any symptoms of asthma, if you ever have had asthma or you cough or wheeze, particularly if you wake at night with shortness of breath, even with hay fever, that's not just hay fever, that's asthma, and you need to see your doctor and get some asthma treatment prescribed so you've got a plan in the event of thunderstorm asthma. If you have hay fever, you're twice as likely as the population to get asthma. And if you have asthma, you're 4 times as likely to have hay fever symptoms. So one of the things to keep people aware of thunderstorm asthma is the Pollen app, and they can download that, and that'll give you warnings, as will the Emergency Services app, around the risk of thunderstorm asthma. So if you know that that's happening, stay out of the storm, stay safe, stay inside, and to keep yourself safe.